Dark, eerie music builds as the camera pans across a peaceful suburban neighborhood. The camera then zooms in slowly on a house with lights flickering inside. A baby monitor suddenly starts crackling with static, followed by the faint sound of a child's voice. The screen flickers, a chilling whisper fills the silence. In a quiet town, hidden behind closed doors, one man destroyed everything he was supposed to protect. This is the story of Chris Watts and the family he erased. A sharp static burst, text flashes on screen. Like, share, subscribe for more true crime mysteries. Scene transition. Cut to home video footage of the Watts family smiling together. Shannon Watts, happy and full of life, plays with her two daughters. The footage fades into a shot of their home, now a crime scene with police tape. On August 13, 2018, in the small town of Frederick, Colorado, the unimaginable happened. Shannon Watts, a loving mother, and her two young daughters, Bella and Celeste, vanished without a trace. Chris Watts, a husband and father, seemed desperate to find his missing family. But beneath his calm demeanor, a horrifying secret was waiting to be revealed. Scene transition. Cut to police body cam footage of Chris Watts being interviewed in his home. He looks uneasy, fidgeting as he answers questions. Chris Watts, on body cam footage, "I just want them back. I don't know where they could have gone." When Shannon's friend reported her missing, Chris played the role of the worried husband. He gave interviews, pleading for his family's safe return. But from the start, something about his story felt wrong. Forced. As investigators dug deeper, Chris's calm facade began to crack. Security footage from the Watts' own home showed Chris acting strangely, loading his truck in the early hours of the morning, long before his family was reported missing. Suspicion grew, but no one could have imagined the full horror that was about to unfold. Investigators pressed him. The lies were piling up. His story about Shannon leaving with the kids didn't add up. Eventually, they cornered him with the one thing he couldn't escape. The results of a lie detector test. Interrogator, audio clip. "Chris, you failed the polygraph. We know you're not telling the truth. It was in this moment that the world would learn the terrifying truth. Chris Watts had murdered his family." Under mounting pressure, Chris confessed, but not to everything. He first blamed Shannon, claiming she had strangled their daughters, and in a fit of rage he killed her. But investigators knew the truth was even darker. It wasn't long before the true horror came to light. Chris Watts had strangled his pregnant wife Shannon in their own home, while their daughters were sleeping just feet away. He then smothered Bella and Celeste, two innocent children, before loading their bodies into his truck and driving them to an oil field where he worked. Shannon's body was found buried in a shallow grave. Bella and Celeste were discovered stuffed into oil tanks, their small bodies discarded like they meant nothing to him. The world was horrified. How could a father, a husband, commit such unspeakable acts? How could someone who seemed so ordinary, so loving on the surface, hide such a monstrous truth? Shannon's family was left shattered, struggling to understand how their once loving son-in-law could commit such a brutal betrayal. The Watts family murders became a chilling reminder that sometimes the darkest evil hides behind the brightest smiles. It was during this final police interrogation that Chris Watts revealed everything. He admitted to smothering Bella and Celeste after lying to them, telling them that their mother was simply sick. His cold, calculated demeanor left investigators stunned. In November 2018, Chris Watts pleaded guilty to all charges to avoid the death penalty. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Justice was served, but the haunting question remains: what drives someone to commit such unthinkable acts? The Watts family tragedy reminds us that the darkest monsters can sometimes hide behind the most familiar faces. Behind every closed door, there's a story we'll never truly know until it's too late. Like, share, subscribe, and stay safe, even in the places you trust the most.